Nicky Winmar, an Australian Football League hero and one of the best Indigenous players, lifted his jersey, pointed to his skin and told racist spectators, "I'm black and I'm proud."
There was a lot of racial comments against Aboriginal people. It's pretty hard because you work hard all your life to get to somewhere and show people how skillful you are, and then you get racially abused. It's not good. I did what I had to do. I pointed to my skin and said, "I'm black and I'm proud" at Victoria Park, and I still stand as today of what I've said.
The photographer Wayne Ludby captured Winmar's response to racial abuse by Collingwood fans and made the editors change the Sunday Age's cover for the following day's edition.
They put it on the first page. I didn't know it was taken until the next day. If you didn't take it, I would have still kept playing and doing what I was doing.
Winmar's defiance in the face of hate stirred a debate on racism and stimulated the introduction of AFL's anti-vilification rule. Winmar's iconic photo was immortalised in a bronze statue and unveiled at Perth Stadium last year. Although proud of its impact on racism in the game, the photographer said, "I prefer we celebrate Nicky Winmar for 250 amazing games of AFL football. He was a champion." But Winmar continued to suffer from racism even after his widely broadcast act of defiance.
I didn't want to go back.
True.
Because I didn't go back for about 3 or 4 weeks. I sort of didn't want to play footy anymore.
But I mean,
because of all the controversy things that happened. Didn't like it, didn't enjoy it.
Years later, Sam Newman, the controversial host of The Footy Show, mocked Winmar in blackface.
Nicky Winmar was scheduled to be on The Footy Show tonight.
Sorry I'm late, mate. This is as close as we could get. He's not here.
Newman has been part of the football landscape in Melbourne for generations and has been blamed for popularising a brand of crude bigotry and misogyny that went unchecked and unpunished. And he was back in the headlines recently when he called George Floyd a piece of prompting Channel 9 to part ways with him. But former players say the problem is more than Newman alone and linked it to Australia's ongoing settler colonial reality. Adam Goodes, a legend in Australian rules football, was at the centre of a racist row in 2013. A 13-year-old girl called him an ape in the middle of a game, and Goodes challenged the girl and demanded her removal from the stadium. He received a shocking backlash of vilification and blunt racism afterwards. But he chose to speak up about discrimination and its impact on the Indigenous community. Goodes was named Australian of the Year in 2014 in recognition of his leadership and dedication to the Indigenous community.
I believe racism is a community issue which we all need to address, and that's why racism stops with me.
But it didn't. The booing and racial slurs continued, turning the football field into a place he hated. In 2015, Goodes celebrated a goal with an Indigenous-inspired war dance, but again, his celebration received a huge backlash.
People are not booing you, Adam, because you're an Aboriginal. They're booing you because you're acting like a jerk. You get what you wish for.
Some commentators even called the dance inappropriately violent and aggressive.
It was all about representing our people and our passion, and dance is a big way we do that.
Goodes was forced out of the game amid constant racially motivated booing stemming from his efforts to call out racism.
Suddenly, he wasn't just Adam Goodes the footballer, he was Adam Goodes the angry Aboriginal.
Their display of pride in their culture hounded them out of sports, both retiring early. It took AFL 4 years to issue an apology just before a documentary on Adam Goodes. But recently, in the podcast You Cannot Be Serious, 3 white AFL pundits attempted to rewrite history while discussing Nicky Winmar's iconic stance against racism in 1993. Sam Newman, once again, Mike Sheehan and Don Scott questioned Winmar's famous shirt-lifting gesture, suggesting his stand was not about race at all. They claimed it was actually about the club having guts. Newman further claimed Winmar's gesture was hijacked by activists later. Winmar, along with photographer Wayne Ludby, launched legal action against the podcast. Sheehan, an otherwise respected football writer, apologised for his comments and announced that he will be leaving the podcast. I see myself through their eyes as attacking an Aboriginal monument in football. I genuinely feel they were hurt by what I said. Winmar received an apology from the trio last Friday, and an undisclosed sum of money will be donated to an Indigenous charity. Despite Winmar and Goodes' legacy of fighting back against racism on and off the pitch, Indigenous AFL players continue to be targeted with racist abuse with alarming frequency.